Here we go. It's 11:06 p.m. on March 8th, 2025. I'm Dylan Lang, and this is a brand new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 597, 3 away from 600, Transgender Mice. And for those who've been following politics, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. We'll talk about that a little bit today, too. It is the first week of March, first episode in March. It is also International Women's Day today. It's Women's Month today. So I just want to let that out there because our elected officials are refusing to allow anyone to celebrate that because they're racist, sexist, misogynist, traitor, fuckfaces. Anyway, thank you to my coworker. I will not mention their name. So as not to embarrass them because they subscribed to my show after we talked about it at work on Friday. So welcome. Thank you very much for subscribing. So I've got 107. Very proud of that right now. So thank you. So we're going to talk about this week. We've got the Oscars winners and my record. Actually did pretty decent. I'm going to do this now and then we'll discuss it later so that next year when we do the Oscars, I can remember, oh shit, what was my record? Because I'm not going to remember a year from now. I did 17-6, which is one more loss and one less win than last year. So I did 18-5 last year, was 17-6 this year. Some surprises, but I did nail a bunch of them that I wasn't expecting. So, did hit ones I knew I was going to get, so that was pretty good. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Next year's Oscars should be a lot better. There's going to be a lot of good stuff coming out this year that will really get the Oscars juice going. But I think 2027 will be pretty big also because next year in 2026 we have some of the best directors out there releasing new movies that they haven't done for a while. So it'd be fun to see what happens with that. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about the magic of Ted Lasso. I've been a fan of this show, having never seen it though for a while. I've been checking the reels and TikTok videos, stuff like that. So I've been reading the stuff, the episode write-ups on Wikipedia and stuff like that. So I kind of knew about it, but I always wanted to get it. And eventually, I don't have Apple Plus TV, and so I didn't want to have to rent that to see it. But eventually, they released the complete 3 seasons on Blu-ray. So I bought that a while back and just never got around to watching it till my wife and daughter gave up on Arrested Development because they watched the first 3 seasons and really liked it and got about halfway through the 4th season and said, this sucks. That was after it left Fox and went to Netflix. So they wanted to find something new to watch, so I suggested that, and they said sure, and we watched the first season, all 10 episodes of the season over a span of about 2 days, so some takes on that as well. We're going to take a look at some other stuff as well. It is daylight savings time, daylight losing time, standard time, whatever we're going back to. So we'll be having to turn our clocks ahead at an hour. So before you go to bed tonight on Saturday, because it's Saturday the 11:10 p.m. on March 8th, I'm doing this live, turn your clocks ahead before you go to bed. If you're watching this on Sunday or Monday or whatever, your clocks should already be ahead at this point. Your phones will be done automatically, but if you have any automatic phone clocks, like clock radios, like I have some clock radios, our microwave clock, our oven clock, they all have to be changed physically as well. My daughter's alarm clock, she's going to change that herself. So, oh yeah, so we lose an hour, which really sucks. In the beginning, it's going to be really dark in the morning for a while, and then it's going to get lighter in the evening, and then gradually it's going to even itself out as we get closer to spring and summer, where we're going to get equal amounts of sunlight in the morning and in the evening. And then, you know, everyone's going to be happy now that the sun doesn't set till like 7 o'clock and then 8 o'clock and so on and so forth like that till we get all the way through summer, and then it starts going back down again. I have no problem with changing the clocks back. It's going to be a rough week, but I have no problems doing it. I don't understand what the issue is, why people are so, oh my God, can't we just keep it the same? How does it affect you besides not making me be able to sleep? And that goes away after about a few days anyway. So just suck it up and move on. Because from what I've read before, is that if we didn't do this, and starting to notice it now, it's really, really light in the morning now. So when I get up in the morning, like at 5 o'clock, it's really starting to get light out. When I go to work at 6:30, it's getting really, really light out, more lighter than usual. So if we didn't change it, eventually it would just keep going that way and going that way. And then eventually the sun would be coming up like at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. That's how it kind of works. And then setting earlier than that. So just kind of a weird scenario. I have no problems doing that. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Well, not talk about it. We are talking about it. But so got that going on. So don't forget to do that as well. We had an interesting thing happen last night. There was apparently a dust storm in Texas earlier this week, and it was a huge one. Excuse me. And the remnants of it got sucked up by the jet stream and dropped dust and brown rain or whatever onto us last night. So we went up to our cars this morning. Your cars were covered in sort of a weird sort of dust spot things, almost looked like pollen, but it wasn't, because every car was affected by it. And Weatherman was like, "No, that's what it was." So, oh yeah, Thunderbolts released their A24 trailer, because a lot of the creative people behind Thunderbolts work for A24 as well. And it's a very unique and interesting take on the Marvel trailer. So I think it's really, really cool to see that. My wife is obsessed with the bald eagle cam at Bald Bear Lake. And the reason why is because they had 3 eggs, and the 3 eggs have hatched. And now we've got cute little eaglets running around, and they're on video to like 24/7. So it's fun to watch that. So it's fun that my wife is really getting, kind of excited about that. So before I go any further, I am decided to try something different. I saw this in the grocery store and decided I wanted to try something different. This is Olipop. It is a prebiotic botanical plant fiber soda, which is supposed to support digestive and immune health. Lots of flavors. I decided to try 2. First one is orange squeeze. So let's go ahead and see what this tastes like here. All right, first up, smells like orange soda. Yeah, it's probiotic, but I'm not a fan of it. It's almost like a diet flavor, but it's not. There's a little bit of orange in it, but it's more just like soda water. That's what it tastes like to me. It doesn't really have a flavor to it. And it's not sweet. It's kind of, as I said, it's like drinking soda water. There's really no flavor to it. And the flavor that does hit, it's like it's part of diet soda, which I'm not a big fan of anyway. So I'll finish that one. I got a cream soda. Maybe that'll be better, but I'm assuming it'll probably be similar to that. So I tried it. Not a big fan of it. So that's just me. So again, I don't get paid for any of this. I'm just trying this on my own because that's what I do. So that's just my opinion. All right. Enough of that. Time to do my Oscar picks. As I said, 17-6 was my record. Surprised by a lot of stuff. I'll read you the winners here in a second, but let's just get the breakdown here. Anora was the big winner of the night with 5 wins, followed by The Brutalist with 3 wins. Dune Part 2, Wicked, Amelia Perez all had 2 wins. Conclave had one. Flow had one. I'm Still Here had one. Substance had one. And A Real Pain had one. So 17-6. As I said, I was 18-5 last year, so I was off by one. And I kind of knew after I picked Conclave as my best picture after doing my show, I was like, I probably should have picked Anora. That would have put me back at 18-5, but didn't happen. So here we go. Best documentary short went to The Only Girl in the Orchestra. Best live action short was I'm Not a Robot. Best animated short was In the Shadow of the Cypress. Best visual effects was Dune Part 2. Best sound was Dune Part 2. Best production design was Wicked. Best makeup and hairstyling was The Substance. Best editing was Anora. Best costume design was Wicked. Best cinematography was The Brutalist. Best original song was El Mal from Emilia Perez. Best original score was The Brutalist. Best documentary feature was No Other Land. Best animated feature was Flow. Best international feature was I'm Still Here. Best adapted screenplay was Conclave. Best original screenplay was Anora. Best actor in supporting role was Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain. Best actress supporting role was Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez. Best actor in a leading role was Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. Best actress in a leading role was Mikey Madison for Anora. Best director was Sean Baker for Anora, and best picture was Anora. Sean Baker made history by winning 4 Oscars just himself in one night. He was the director. He was producer for Best Picture. He was the director. He also did, I believe, the editing, and I think he wrote the screenplay also. So he won those 4. And you got to love the guy. He was very jovial. He was a very good guy. So I might have to check out the film. In the end, still just kind of disappointed a little bit, but it was a blasé Oscars. Was just okay. Conan did fine. There just wasn't anything that was just outstanding about the Oscars. So it was fine. And we'll see how things go next year. I would not be adverse to seeing Conan again because he was almost a non-entity. I like Nick Offerman as the announcer. I thought that was cool. I think there's things you can do to shorten it or make it more interesting, whatever. But in the end, it's still something fun to watch, and we have a full year now till the next one comes out. So we'll start taking a look at that stuff really soon. Only thing I can think of really that might be a way a year in advance look at what the Oscars next year might look like. Because I think Wicked Part 2 is going to get a bunch more Oscar nominations. Best Director should be thrown in there as well. The actors will probably get the same, nominations again, Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress. I hope John Chu gets Director. Best Picture should be in there as well. And we'll see what else comes down the line. The second part of Wicked focuses more on Elfie. So, Galinda's very, she's still there, but she's more of a minor presence in it. So we'll see what happens, but I think much like with Lord of the Rings and other stuff as well, where you've had multiple stories, like Lord of the Rings is like basically was considered as one film, just cut into 3 parts, and it got nominations for the first 2, but didn't really win much. Won a couple here and there, but the third, once it was over and done with, it got totally. Just blew up at the Oscars. I'm assuming Wicked's probably going to do the same thing here. So I would not be surprised if they get a ton of nominations and they actually win a bunch of them also. Unfortunately, also fucking Avatar 3, which comes out in December, is going to get nominated also. And it's so predictable and so boring. And we get word this week that Avatar 3 is going to be longer than Avatar 2, and Avatar 2 is 3 hours and 12 minutes. So what the fuck are you doing, Cameron? So that'll be another one you'll probably have put into nominations as well. And right now, those are the only ones I can think of right now, top of my head, because I'm not exactly sure what else will be coming out and what they've got planned and stuff like that, and what's rolling through here. No, but those are the two big ones right now. I can pretty much guarantee at this point right now, you will see them show up in some form or another at the Oscars next year. In particular, that Wicked is going to get a lot more and is going to win a lot more also, I think, as well, because it depends on what they're up against and how the rest of awards ceremonies go, if they're actually going to be like a Return of the King and just sort of sweep everything. It's possible, but we'll check it out. It's way, way too early to discuss that right now. And I wish my friend Lisa Marie would go back to doing her way too early Oscar picks, where for every month she predicted like the top ones, depending on popular discourses about movies that hadn't come out yet or had been getting buzz or whatever. Real quick, continuing something that I just talked about was buzz. I hate Rotten Tomatoes. You all know how much I hate Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's and criticisms in general is not good, and that they put too much emphasis on reviews of stuff. The Electric State, which is the new Russo film coming on Netflix next weekend with Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt, which is a $350 million movie, which I think, despite what Rotten Tomatoes and other reviewers are saying, I think it's going to do very, very well because it's got everything that Americans are looking for, as it were, which is why, the films you see get the huge money, whereas the ones that, like these Oscar ones, barely make any sort of money whatsoever. It's a type of film that gets a lot of people excited for stuff and gets them into it. But the movie hasn't even come out yet, and Rotten Tomatoes already has them at a 10% likability film. So obviously all the reviewers hate it. So again, it's going to be one of these things that, reviewers, who cares what reviewers say, because there have been multiple times recently where the reviewers had a really terrible score, like a 40% or whatever likability factor, and then the audience award is like 80 or 90%. So there is a disconnect between those two. So I just ignore the critics. I plan on watching The Electric State sometime. I don't know when. I'd like to watch it this weekend, but depending on, my wife is going to be gone camping, so potentially could have an opening since none of my kids are going to want to see it. But once they go to bed, maybe I can put it on and we'll see what happens. So we'll see what happens about that. But I just don't let the reviewers tell you what to go see. Ignore Rotten Tomatoes, because they're also not very trustworthy anyway, because of the whole Zack Snyder bullshit where bros came in and review bombed like movies that should have done a whole lot better, and then they come out with Schadenfreude and say, see, no one wants to see these fucking movies. Do more Zack Snyder cool shit. And it's all a bunch of bullshit, because none of these people are real. They're not real critics. They're just people's opinions. And Zack Snyder just looked back and said, yeah, keep doing it because I'm your king, man. He did not say, don't do that. Stop doing that. This is ridiculous. In fact, he partaked in a bunch of them as well, which everybody seems to forget because they all think, oh, he's such a great person. No, he's not. He's a fucking tool. He's fucking Donald Trump for the movies. He's got his terrible fan base, and he's in there supporting them in their misogynistic attacks. He doesn't give a fuck because he's a piece of shit. So that's besides the point. So we finally get a real good idea of what happened with Gene Hackman, and it's even worse than you thought it was. So Gene Hackman had been suffering from dementia, and his wife was his primary caregiver. So apparently a week before Gene Hackman died, his wife actually died of like hantavirus or something like that, some sort of weird virus that has come around, and I've heard about it. It's killed people. It's like transported by mice or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but it's the hantavirus, and it killed his wife. But because just the two of them living in that house, and she was the primary caregiver, I guess they didn't hire another caregiver. after she died, he was living on his own with his dementia at the age of 93 for a full week. So don't know how he got his food together, how he did anything, how he took his medicine, whatever. He had his faculties about him, because then what happened a week later was he had a heart attack. But because he was so weak and wasn't used to opening up his heart medicine, he collapsed from it, and that's why the pills were scattered about. Also, the dog, they probably just, he forgot about the dog or didn't know how to feed him or whatever, and said he would be okay, or thought he fed him and the dog would be fine, and that's why the dog was dead also. So it's really, really sad kind of what happened. So moving on to more depressing stuff. Let's get even more depressing here. Local news, particularly here in Reisterstown, there is a great restaurant that's been here forever, built into a historic house. Is a fancy restaurant up on Main Street where it's expensive dinner, but it's like fancy dinner. The inside has got fireplaces and wood stoves and a nice bar and nice wood paneling, and it's a really nice restaurant. And it's been here since we've lived here. We moved here in 2004. It's been here 21 years. And it's even before that. My cousin Jenny had her rehearsal dinner there before I even moved here. So I'd known about it. On Friday, yesterday, Harriman House announced that they will be closing on Sunday for good after dinner. And that came out of nowhere. Nobody knew it was coming. It just popped up on Friday that they were closing. The rumor is that the owner of Harriman House was getting into some tax issues, and he had to sell off the restaurant to pay his taxes or whatever. So they have to shut it down. So here's hoping that another fancy restaurant comes in and keeps it the way it is, keeps the aesthetic in there, doesn't make any changes to it because it is perfect the way it is. But it's a nice fancy restaurant to go to. You don't want to go every weekend or whatever, but just like special events, anniversaries, birthdays, Mother's Day. They have a really nice, they used to have a good really nice Sunday brunch. So it's kind of depressing that is not going to be around anymore. So here's to you, Harriman House. If this isn't more online about what's going on with our current political climate, a Canadian goose was photographed fighting off a bald eagle on a frozen lake, and the goose won. The bald eagle thought it was an easy meal, and the goose fought back, and in the end, the bald eagle ran away. Basically what happened between Canada and the moron in office with his stupid tariffs, that now for a second time in a row, he said he was going to do tariffs, and then he was told he's going to roll them back for another month. So are we going to do this every fucking month? Something needs to be done. They need to be taken out in any means, any way possible. So let's continue talking about the moronic stuff they did this week. Transgender mice is the name of this episode. And the reason why I said that is because during his State of the Union speech, the felon in charge said that the U.S. government was spending $8 million on transgender mice, turning mice transgender. The moron, because he's suffering from dementia and he's a fucking tool, moron, shitbag, traitor, piece of shit. It's transgenic mice, which is a way to turn mice into humans, or give them human qualities, I should say, and when it comes to their cells, stuff like that, so they can test stuff on them instead of on humans to help with, see if humans can use this stuff. Transgenic mice. It's not transgender mice, you stupid fucking idiot. And all his psychopaths were like, oh, he was just making a joke. No, he fucking wasn't. He truly believed that we were spending money on turning mice transgender. And the reason why I know this is because when he was on the campaign trail, he was saying that kids would be going to school as boys and came back as girls. That they made them transgender at the school, which is a bunch of bullshit. Morons. And the Enola Gay, which was the name of the airplane that dropped the bomb on Hiroshima, was named the Enola Gay after the pilot's mother. Its picture of the plane has been up in the Department of Defense and on websites, stuff like that. Well, the morons decided to take those pictures down because the word gay is in the pictures and it goes against their DEI rules now, saying that you can't have anything that, is DEI related, because they actually thought it was gay as in homosexual and not a person's name. I am not making this shit up. They also passed a executive order, which those are a bunch of bullshit anyway, to make English the official language of the United States. That's a bunch of bullshit also. And they're going to, he said an executive order to shut down the Department of Education, which you can't do with executive orders, you dumb fuck. Congress has to run past that to shut that down. It's something needs to be done. Something needs to happen to those fucks. If I keep going with this. All right, going from shit to cool stuff. First up, Running Point, the Kate Hudson show about a woman who takes over as owner of a basketball team. Got renewed for a second season after it had a really good premiere. Brenda Song, who's married to Macaulay Culkin, is in this show as well. There have been lots of comparisons to the brilliant TV show Ted Lasso, which was on Apple TV Plus, started in 2020. I had heard about it, and it had won all these awards, and I started researching it and watching the reels and really wanted to watch it. As I told you earlier in the show, got the video, the DVDs, and we finally sat down and watched the first season over a span of 2 days. And it is just as good as expected. The premise, for those who don't know, is a college football coach from Wichita State out in Kansas wins the national championship in college football. And the owner of a football, i.e. soccer team in England, decides to hire him as their new coach, despite him not knowing anything about the game of soccer. I'm just going to call it soccer. He and his best friend and assistant coach, Coach Beer, go over there, and Ted is very positive, very cornball America sort of stuff, but he has a really good heart, and he's in a good place, but he comes from a different perspective, so there's a little bit of fish out of water aspect in there. And he has to learn to get his team to respect him, because they don't at the beginning of the film or beginning of the series, but by the end of the first season, they seem to have fully get underneath his, gotten behind him totally. There's a lot more to it. I'm not going to cover it, but it is a brilliant show, because not just it focuses, yes, on the fish out of water stuff, but it's not a big deal. It is a comedy drama. So there's not just comedy, there is dramatic points to it. And we also get perspectives from the other characters who aren't Ted Lasso. Ted, has this front as being this cheerful American guy, but he's going through a separation from his wife. The reason why he took the role, and being away from his son, who he absolutely adores, is killing him. And he starts having panic attacks. And it is, he had one in one of the episodes during the first season, and it is such a realistic portrayal of a panic attack. Surprisingly, how good it is. The owner of the company, played by Hannah Waddington, she has her own issues where originally she starts off as wanting to hire this rookie virgin soccer coach because she wanted to ruin the team that she owned because she had owned it with her ex-husband who cheated on her, and she wanted in their divorce, and it was the only thing he really truly loved, so she wanted to totally destroy it. So she hired a guy who she thought was going to totally destroy her team, but because of his way he is, and because she's starting to grow up also as well, and she's learning some other stuff and getting over the divorce and everything that her terrible ex-husband had done to her, with the help of not only Ted but also of Higgins, her assistant, and also Keely, who is one of the girlfriends of one of the players who's come in and has become her de facto best friend, and gets her sort of back in place. But she has her own issues as well. And then we learn about Keely and her relationship with one of the star players, Tart, and then also with Roy Kent. There's a Jamie Tart as a love triangle going on between those three, and then we learn more about all their characters. Roy Kent is a gruff, tough guy who has a heart of gold, and we learn, about his life, and then we learn a little bit about Tart's life, Jamie Tart, where he is a pompous dick who you despise. He's like your typical star player who's the biggest dick in the world, but you're starting to see some cracks in him. You start to learn more about it later on in the season. You learn about his issues with his father, and there's some stuff there as well. And then, we get introduced to Nate, who is the kit guy, who is the one who does all the cleaning and folds the towels and does the laundry and packs the bus up like that. He gets picked on by the players, but then Ted and Beard see some potential in him as a coach when he comes up with some good ideas for them to help them win matches. And so they make him an assistant coach as well, which is cool. So you get little stories about him, and then the town where Ted's staying in is just like a fun little town where everybody knows everybody. There's a bar there, and there's people who he knows and runs into all the time, and they know him and stuff like that. So it's a really good show that gets a real in-depth look at England, but also in the world of football, English style, and it just is a really very well written and absolutely deserves all the Emmy awards that it does. So we finished the first season. We still have 2 more seasons to go, 12 episodes each, so we have 24 episodes more to go of the show. So we'll probably start season 2 probably tomorrow. So continue that, but Ted Lasso is definitely a show worth watching. My daughter had one of the best lines ever at the end of the season finale of the first season, where before she went to bed, she's like, I hate how a TV show about soccer makes me cry. And so she's really enjoying it. It is very well done and highly recommended. If you have Apple Plus TV and you haven't watched it yet, absolutely watch it. If you don't have Apple Plus TV, go to Amazon or any other place you can find that sells Blu-rays or whatever, and get the Blu-ray for the complete 3 seasons and start watching right away. Oh, this is awful. Never again. So now we go from good stuff to, again, potentially shitty stuff. Michael Bay, that tosser also, is discussing a sequel to one of the shittiest, most terrible movies of all time, Armageddon, that still somehow made $535 million. It is one of the worst fucking movies of all time, and yet millions of people love it, which pisses me off to no end. But now he's talking about a sequel 27 years after it came out. It's like, are you serious? Are you still, is there even, all the actors in it are either dead or old, and there's no reason to do it. So And what are you going to do? It was about a giant comet and they're going to destroy the Earth, and they stop it from destroying the Earth. So what, you're going to have another one, another group of people take it on. No way it'd be interesting would be if they had some of the crew and then some new characters go up against aliens. But even then, it's Michael Bay. It's still going to be bullshit. So whoop-de-freaking-do. It's going to be a lot harder to read my stuff this time because, again, my handwriting is shitty. And I can't read this one right here. It's a trailer, obviously, but I can't tell what it is. Anyway, a giant Pacific octopus has been discovered in an Oregon tide pool. So it's kind of neat to see the video of that. Hopefully he'll be okay and be able to survive, get his way back to the ocean somehow. Don't know how he got there, but hopefully he can go back the way he came and get back out there and do it. So that's pretty good. The hell? Don't know what that says. The Woman in the Yard trailers, Blumhouse's new film, had a new longer trailer come out. And it's actually, it looks like a pretty decent horror film. It's basically set in one location, which is a really good thing, and focuses on three characters, a mom and her two kids, and the father just died in a car accident. So the family's trying to recover from that. And so the mom is in so she's got a cast, so she's got crutches. So I'm assuming maybe she was in the car when her husband died. Is the only thing I could think of, and she injured. She survived, but he didn't. And so she's trying to keep the family together, keep the house, stuff like that. And her son is a older teenager, is helping out, and her daughter's younger, like that. And so they're trying to survive. And then one morning, they look out, and there's this weird woman dressed all in black, just in their yard, staring at them. And they try to talk to them, but nothing's coming about them. The voice starts coming out. It sounds like the lead actress's voice, and starts saying that you called me and today's your day and all this stuff, and gets really threatening. So they try to scare her off with guns, stuff like that, but nothing was working. And then they keep an eye on her, and she keeps moving closer and closer to the house. Eventually we start seeing that she can control shadows. So her shadows show up on the wall and is knocking stuff over and trying to grab them. And then she's in the house and trying to get them for some reason, probably connected to the death of the husband somehow. But that it looks creepy enough. It's a Blumhouse film, so it looks creepy enough and interesting enough as well. Let me just see if I can get what that other story is, because it started at the top and moving down here. Get close. The Greatest Showman musical. There it is. That's what it was. The Greatest Showman musical is set to be coming to England in spring of 2026. They're making a musical of the movie. And apparently it's going to debut in England, and then it will make its way down, I'm assuming, to Broadway eventually. I'm going to turn that off right now so I can keep looking for it if I get into trouble. All 5 members of the Breakfast Club are going to be reuniting for the first time in 40 years in Chicago later this year to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the movie. Cosmo Jarvis is set to join the Odyssey. He was just in the Shogun TV series. Taylor Russell to join Michael B. Jordan remake of the Thomas Crown Affair. Michael B. Jordan will be writing, directing, and starring in it. And he, after a nationwide casting, he found his leading lady. Euphoria adds Asante Black, 2Ks at the end, for season 3. Jaws will be re-released in the movie theaters on August 29th for the 50th anniversary, which, coincidentally enough, the 50th anniversary will literally be on my birthday this year because it debuted June 20th, 1975 in movie theaters, but because it's at the height of summer movie craziness, they're not going to be able to get any cinemas available because all the movie screens are already sucked up by all of the summer movies coming out. So August 29th makes perfect sense. The summer movie season has just ended. It is Labor Day weekend, though we know the movie takes place the 4th of July, but it's still kind of sort of the same thing. So we'll be coming out Labor Day weekend. So that might be something to look into. It might be fun to check it out. Glow in the dark Sour Patch Kids, which are only going to glow in the dark under black light, are coming out soon. Just seems kind of weird. It's apparently not going to kill you because it passed the FDA and all that stuff. So, okay. We'll do that. Hokkaido's new airport had to delay 4 flights due to deer being on the tarmac. The Hokkaido airport is brand new, and it was built in the middle of a forest, so there's a forest surrounding the airport, so the deer came out to explore the tarmac there. Barbarian director Zach Gregor's Resident Evil relaunch is coming in 2026, fall of 2026, probably in October. So Barbarian's been getting a lot of really good buzz, and I think his movie Companion just came out, and he's one of those actors or directors that the film snobs just absolutely love so much. So they'll keep talking about how good his stuff is. This is interesting news for the Harry Potter TV series. Janet McTeer is eyed for Professor McGonagall, and Papao Asaidu is eyed for Snape in the Harry Potter series. Now, I can already see it is that Papa Asaidu is a black actor, and they're going to want him to play Severus Snape. So people are going to be up in arms about that probably. And Janet McTeer does not look as old as Maggie Smith did when she started playing McGonagall. She looks more of a middle-aged McGonagall and not an older McGonagall. I have no issue because I'm not going to watch a TV show because I don't have Max, and I have no desire to see a TV series. They're making 8 episodes out of The Sorcerer's Stone. That's a little much because the movie really didn't cut too much out. They cut a few things here and there, but it was only like a two hour, like, and 10-minute movie, 2 hours. So they were able to get everything into like a 2-hour movie. And now you're going to expand it into 8 half hours, which leads you to 4 hours, the 4-hour version of Sorcerer's Stone. And there really is nothing else you can add to it. You can add the potions thing to try to get through to the final battle with Voldemort. And if you want to switch out and have Neville be the one who goes out with them to Hagrid's hut and then gets into the woods. But there really isn't much that they were missing in the Sorcerer's Stone. And to spread it out over 8 hours just seems weird. So no real desire to see this. I don't think it's a really good idea. But the casting is fine, I guess. Lithgow is going to be good as Dumbledore. I think that's going to be interesting. Don't know much about Janet McTeer and Papa Asaidu. I don't care if he's black, white, Chinese, whatever. I don't care as long as he plays the character the way he's supposed to. That's fine with me. I don't care. So we'll see. Jon Favreau has found his new project for Disney Plus. He's going to be doing a TV show based on Oswald the Rabbit, who is Disney's first actual character, not Mickey Mouse. Oswald the Rabbit is. They had lost the rights to him years ago, but when copyright law gave him up, they bought the rights back, and they have the rights now for that. And Jon Favreau has decided he wants to do a TV series with Oswald the Rabbit. So we'll see what happens. SWAT, the CBS police procedural, which had been canceled in season 6, but then the fan base came back and got them to renew it for a 7th season. Then it got canceled after the 7th season. Fan base came back. They did it for an 8th season. It is now canceled for good after this 8th season. So I don't think no amount of fan uproar is going to bring them back. A passenger on a Southwest airline flight stripped down naked and began walking around the airplane and screaming. So they had to turn back and remove the person from the airplane. The Recruit is canceled after 2 seasons. Never saw it. Don't care. Thought you guys might like to know about it. Michelle Monaghan and Adam Scott are set to join Robert De Niro in Netflix's The Whisper Man movie. So that's coming up here soon. Excavation at the San Antonio Zoo uncovers a limestone quarry that was used to build the Alamo. So let me see if I can find what this trailer is. So let's go back down here again. Oh, come on, what are we doing here? There we go. Let's see what this trailer is. I can't read my handwriting again. Bear with me here. I'm going through all the stuff that I did do that I can read. There we go. Smart. Come up. Next one. The studio trailer, which is Apple Plus TV new show with Seth Rogen talking about the creation of running a movie department. So that's interesting to take a look at. Hettienne Park and Joe Pantoliano and who is the other person in here? And Catherine O'Hara have all joined the cast of The Last of Us Season 2. That's set to debut in a few weeks, actually, I believe. So you'll be able to see all that for yourself. Walgreens is set to be acquired by a private equity firm for $10 billion, continuing the privatization of pharmacies again, which is why this world is still fucked up as it is. A new Runaways comic book series is spinning out of the Rule of Doom or whatever one World of Doom storyline is going on in Marvel right now. I don't know. I'm not reading it, but Runaways was always an interesting series, and then they had a TV show. And rumors are they're going to be in the Secret Wars at least, so we'll see what happens. Matthew Modine is set to join Godzilla Kong 3, so that'd be interesting to see him in there as well. Cynthia Erivo from Wicked is set to join an action thriller called Karashia. A car that was pulled from the Columbia River in Oregon could very well solve a 1958 family mystery. They disappeared back in 58. Nobody knows what happened to them. They believe this car may actually be the one that we find out what happened to the family. Charlie XCX, I guess is a singer of some kind, is being eyed to play the White Queen in Greta Gerwig's Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe film that she's doing for Netflix. We now have an official date, July 25th, 2025. Happy Gilmore 2 will debut on Netflix. It's the same day I think Fantastic Four comes out. Margaret Robbie's Monopoly movie is still set to go and has been moving forward now. And we also get the Pulse trailer, which is a medical drama, Miami medical drama on Netflix. So Netflix is getting into the medical drama world now, which is boring because it is the most overused up there with police procedural TV not cliche, but series. Anniversary, The Big Lebowski is 27 years old this week. Deaths, Dwayne Wiggis, the father, one of the founders of Tony, passed away this week. And Pamela Bach, the ex-wife of David Hasselhoff, also died this week as well. So I just got this for Valentine's Day, but it came out sometime last year, a novel, which is a direct sequel to the Michael Keaton Batman movie. It's not Batman Returns. It takes place between Batman and Batman Returns. Was written and did very well. And I got it for Valentine's Day, so I'm going to read it. So they announced this week, I believe it's coming out later this year, they announced this week that a sequel novel will be coming your way later this year, I believe. I have it. It's on my Amazon list already. Will be coming out on October 28th, 2025. It's called Batman Revolution, written by John Jackson Miller, and is set to introduce the Riddler to Tim Burton world, which, if they do it as it should be, the Riddler was set to be played by Robin Williams in the Tim Burton Batman world. So we'll see how I haven't read the first novel yet. I'm going to soon. And then now we have a second one to look forward to as well. So that's pretty cool. And Riddler is my favorite Batman villain, so that makes it even more exciting for me to read. Clay Walker is set to play Randy Travis in a biopic. Could care less because I hate country music. Bong Joon-ho, award-winning Bong Joon-ho director, wants to direct a musical set in the Alien universe, which is definitely a unique idea, given that. Keegan-Michael Key is set to join season 5 of Only Murders in the Building. The Penguin Lessons trailer is a Fox Searchlight film about a guy who learns from a penguin about life lessons and stuff like that. Not physically. The penguin isn't talking. It's a real penguin. And they filmed with a real penguin. So, Kill Me is a new murder mystery with Charlie Day, Allison Walker, Giancarlo Esposito, Aya Cha, and Jessica Harper has finished filming, and it'll be out here soon in a little bit. And Lone Wolf, a conspiracy thriller starring Bryan Cranston, Lily Goldstein, O'Shea Jackson, Jennifer L., Chet Hanks, who's Tom Hanks' son, and Spencer Garrett is also finished filming and is set to debut very soon also. Sam Worthington from Avatar has joined the cast of Netflix's Harlan Cobain series, I Will Find You. He will be the lead in that. Gunslingers trailer starring Nicolas Cage, Heather Graham, and guy who played Deacon Frost. Can't think of his name right now. I said to come out, didn't watch it, could care less about it. Oh well. Spielberg's UFO film is now going under the heading of Disclosure, which is confusing with the people who remember the 1994 Michael Crichton, Barry Levinson movie, Disclosure, with Demi Moore and Michael Douglas. But it's still just the working title could change again. It's like the second name change for it. It has started filming, and we got some of our first looks at it with Emily Blunt and stuff like that. So that's set to debut in 2026. The first poster of Eden, the new Ron Howard film that stars a stacked cast: Sydney Sweeney, Anna de Armas, Vanessa Kirby, and Lucky Fellows, Jude Law, and Daniel Bruhl. Haven't seen anything else about that. It finished filming, I think, last year, and I think it might have hit, but I haven't seen any photos of it or even a trailer. Rumor has it that it was debuted at a film festival, but nothing was said about it. No reviews were made about it. So don't know what's up with that, when it's coming out, whatever. So we'll get our picture about that here soon enough. We got our first look at The Bondsman, which is the Kevin Bacon Amazon show where he plays a demon bounty hunter. It looks surprisingly creepy and also surprisingly funny at the same time, sort of a Tremors vibe to it. But this time, instead of giant worms, Kevin Bacon is fighting demons. So it looks pretty intriguing there. A Court of Throne and Roses TV series, which would have done very well, and I can only assume this has to do with cost, was supposed to be a live action series at Hulu. Hulu has decided to kill the project, so that is no longer going to happen. We got our first look at the A24 black comedy Eddington, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal, Emma Stone, and Austin Butler. It's a Western, a black humored Western set during COVID. So we'll see about that. Robert Downey Jr.'s Vertigo remake, which was announced a while ago, but hasn't really been mentioned often, is still going on. The writer who's writing it is having a hard time getting the script under control, saying it's really hard to rewrite perfection. So we'll see what happens with that. Oh, David Arquette joins the cast of Scream 7, which now makes it the third character to have died in the series to come back in the series. So something is going on. Don't know exactly what it is. We've had our theories that it's a deep fake sort of thing, or that it's going to be like a New Nightmare meta thing where the actors who played these roles are actually going to be the ones who are getting stalked by the new Ghostface. So don't know what the story is about that. We'll find out next year. So we'll see for sure about that. Jurassic World Chaos Theory, the animated series on Netflix, is hitting its season 3. It's set to debut April 3rd. Neil Patrick Harris has joined the cast of Dexter Resurrections, which continues to have an amazingly stacked cast, including Kristen Ritter and Uma Thurman and Peter Dinklage. So you got a great cast already. So you just add Neil Patrick Harris to that. It's also last week we had the rumor that Daredevil season 2 was filming. It's not a rumor, that's true, but the rumor was that Kristen Ritter was flying into New York, and there was thought that she was going to be reprising her role as Jessica Jones in Daredevil season 2. Because why else was she flying to New York the day that they started filming it? Well, it was just coincidental because they're actually filming Dexter Resurrections in New York City, because she was spotted with Michael C. Hall around New York City filming scenes for the Dexter series. So Dexter Resurrections is going to take place at least partially in New York City. So sorry to get your hopes up, but that's just the way it is. Catherine Newton is set to join Samara Weaving in Ready or Not 2. Rich Hofferman set to appear in LA Suits. I believe he was in the original Suits series. I did that one. The Ark gets a 3rd season on Sci-Fi. No, this is kind of cool. I got to talk about this for a second. This is actually kind of cool. Robert Rodriguez, he's a director. You know him from El Mariachi, Desperado, the Spy Kids series. Did Battle Angel Lita, and has done a bunch of other stuff so far. He's really a big action comedy sort of guy. And he's always been a off the res sort of filmmaker. He made El Mariachi with money that he got from being in a scientific study, and has since gone on and done pretty good, and does low budget stuff, Sin City, stuff like that. He was also born on June 20th, so he's a fellow June 20th baby, so I got to love that. He wrote a book about his experience making El Mariachi for first-time filmmakers. It's a really good book. I read it. He also did From Dusk Till Dawn, friends with Quentin Tarantino, who co-wrote the screenplay with him. So what's next with Robert Rodriguez? Well, it's very cool. Robert Rodriguez announced this week that he is creating Brass Knuckle Pictures, Brass Knuckle Films, and basically, it is a film company that if you give money to them, you can be part of the filmmaking world. Robert will be using Brass Knuckles Films as his film company from now on, and he will be, if someone gives money, he will put their name in the film. He will get them, if they're interested in working on the film, they can come in and do stuff like that. You can actually also pitch movies to him, and he can he'll narrow them down, and he might pick one and make it, that sort of thing. So he's got this whole sort of interactive. It's going to cost money, obviously, to get involved with it, but if you wanted to be in the film business, it's a really interesting thing to look into. So just check out Brass Knuckles Films. I don't know if there's a website or something which will have more details, but just for my guys, that the money that you guys put in, you are actually going to become immersed in the making of the film as well in some form or another. So I think that's really, really cool. That's George Lowe, the voice of Space Ghost, particularly from Space Ghost Coast to Coast. And I guess he was also the voice of him from the original cartoon series, passed away this week. I missed this one. Forever, a modern remake of the Judy Blume book, is set for a May 8th debut on Netflix. Lethal Weapon, 38 years ago, anniversary. Lethal Weapon, the original one, came out 38 years ago this week. Watchmen came out 16 years ago this week. Cruel Intentions came out 26 years ago this week. And the Great Lone Gunman spinoff series from the X-Files came out 24 years ago this week. So pretty good anniversaries this week. Down to our last page here. Our first full ballerina trailer came out. We also get a little bit of Keanu Reeves as John Wick making an appearance as well. It's a pretty decent looking trailer, and to see John Wick in it as well as other members of the John Wick film group have made their appearances in there as well. I think it's really cool to see that, and it should be an entertaining film. I think it should do probably pretty good. Netflix, who has their hand in everything, they're trying to get NFL football. They're trying to do stuff. They're also trying to get to become the home for the Oscars. So we'll see how that works out. Our first look at the Shire Lego set from the Lord of the Rings finally came up, so we get to see that. It looks pretty decent. Leonardo DiCaprio is still set to star in Damien Chazelle's movie about Evel Knievel, but there's potentially could be an issue where Leo can't do it, and newly minted Best Actor Adrian Brody is in the wings now that he will be cast in the role if Leonardo DiCaprio exits the film, so we'll see what happens with that. This will be the last story of the week, of the day. A 3.9 earthquake registered on the night of the Oscars in Hollywood. Don't know if that was just actual earthquake or that was just someone having too much fun at the Oscar parties. And a 4.6 earthquake was registered in Alaska, Homer, Alaska. So still lots of active activity going on. So we're bound to something going to be happening here eventually. Aaron Paul has set to join the new Russell Crowe action thriller. Rob Lowe, Crispin Glover, and Rosalind Suarez are set to star in Third Parent, a creepypasta movie. Steve Carell, Jason Schwartzman, I can't read the other actors' names, are set to join the new movie from the creator of Severance. A Walk to Remember remake is coming. More remakes. No idea what that is. The Iditarod started in a different location than it usually does, due to the fact that there was less snow up in the usual starting location, which is kind of odd. A software glitch caused a humanoid robot to aggressively lunge at and attack a human in attendance at a convention or whatever that had him in that. So that's not great that a giant robot, a humanoid robot, had a glitch in its system and attacked a human. So that's what the hell did I write there? No. Basic Instinct is set to get a 4K update, a clear shot of the sex stuff. I already talked about that. Pale Blue Ghost launcher. Private Blue Ghost lander landed a lander on the moon this week. So it's a private company sent a lander to the moon, and they landed on the moon and released these amazing pictures. One was a picture of Earthrise over the moon, and you can see the shadow of the lander on the moon's surface as the Earth is coming up. It's a gorgeous film, gorgeous shot. And then it had the first ever shot of a sunrise on the moon was taken by this lander as well. So that's really very cool also. So definitely check those out as well. Forever 21 is set to lay off 350 employees. Shutting down stores is probably the next level because this economy is so great. Thank you, fuckbag. Disney is also going to be laying off 5% of their staff over all their areas. Disney, the Disney parks, the Disney movie areas, Disney Plus, so on and so forth. So, South Carolina felt ignored, so they decided we're going to have a wildfire now after California's is done. So that's just great. The Webb telescope is able to get the first ever picture that proves one of Einstein's theories is true, the zigzag theory. He came up with this a while back, but nobody was able to get proof of it till now, so we have proof of that. So it continues to show how great Albert Einstein actually was. Gator Creek is coming soon. Yeehaw. This kind of sucks. The Tiana animated series that was set to be on Disney Plus that was announced years ago has now officially been killed. That's a shame. It really would have been nice to have a more diverse series on TV to get more people involved in it. Star Trek Strange New Worlds new season has started filming this week. Jordan Peele's fourth movie is set to debut October 23rd, 2026. No idea what that is. No idea what that is. Oh, yeah. Huge warship is set to become the world's largest artificial reef off the Florida coast. That's one of the ones I couldn't read. So they're going to sink this ship and to become an artificial reef off of the coast of Florida. So I guess that's pretty good. I got this one too. First look at the Bear season 4 also came out this week as well. So I got the ones I couldn't read. So good for me. Anniversaries, we do the last book of the last story of the season, or the show rather. Logan came out 8 years ago this week. REM's Collapse Into Now, their final album, debuted 14 years ago this week. Zodiac debuted 18 years ago this week. Zodiac is on my schedule to be one of the movies I'm going to watch during my week off at the end of June into July when my family's away. So I'll have a review hopefully of that when the time comes. I've been dying to see it for a while. And now we end with a bunch of deaths. Hector, also known as Roach, the horse that was in The Witcher, he passed away. Carl Dean, Dolly Parton's husband of 60 years, died this week. Bob Rupe, bassist for Cracker, passed away this week. Glenn Paddock, who was a founder of Castle Rock and also shepherded Seinfeld, died this week as well. And James Harriman. James Harrison. This is a sad story. It's a good story though. James Harrison was a man who had a rare blood antibody that would help save lots of sick children. So he gave a ton of blood, gave blood 1,173 times. And his blood is said to have saved 2.4 million babies due to the antibodies in his blood. They injected him into babies that were having these sicknesses or whatever, and these antibodies came in and wiped them out and made them healthy lives. 2.4 million babies he saved. Gave blood 1,173 times. That is insane. This guy is a hero, absolutely. May he rest in peace. So the final story of the night. A woman murders her roommate, then decides to pour Mountain Dew all over herself to prevent the police from getting any DNA. Not sure if that would actually work, but the woman thought it was worth a shot. And I don't think it worked because she actually did get arrested. So there you go. That is it for tonight's episode of Dylan Knows. So it's 12:18 now, but technically due to the time change, it is 1:18. So it is definitely time to probably head to bed here. So that we don't get affected too badly by the hour change. The time change doesn't really affect you until the second day. Monday is going to be kind of rough for everybody, but tomorrow won't be as rough because it is a weekend. It is a Sunday. So that's all I got for today. Next week, my wife is away camping with the Scouts, but my daughter and son will still be here, so I don't get the house to myself, but still, that's something at least. And we'll see what happens this week. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you all soon. Don't forget to turn your clocks ahead an hour before you go to bed.